Let's call that as a x-axis. That's what it means. And it is changing with respect to the time. Okay? And from this graph, or from the position time graph, we need to find out the average velocity between the different time intervals. Okay? So what we are interested in calculating from this position time graph is what is the average velocity between this range. What is the average velocity in this range? So in each range, or in each time here, we have to find out the average, the velocity. So what is the average velocity is? In order to find out the average velocity, what we need to find out is the position, the final position, the initial position, and the time difference. So the way it is defined, the average velocity is xf. What is f stands for? The final position, and this is the initial position. That's the final time, and this is the initial time. So we need to know the position. Okay, so let's first calculate between 0 to 2 seconds, or in this range here, between 0 to 2 seconds here. So at time t equals to 2 seconds, what is the position? The position is 5. And at time t equals to 0, what is the position? That is 0. So just plug in this equation. At time equals to 2 seconds, the position is 5. And at time equals to 0 seconds, the position is 0. So you see now, you can clearly see here from this graph. So this is the final position at time t equals to 2 seconds, and this one is 5. So just plug in 5. And time equals to 0, what is the position here? This is 0. And this time is 2 minus, it should be 0 here. Okay, so I'm just making small correction here, although mathematically it is correct. So 5 over 2 is 2.5 meters per second. So this quantity is positive. What does it mean? That means the particle is moving along the positive x direction. Okay, so it is moving along a positive x-axis, and with an average velocity of 2.5 meters per second. And you can also see from this graph, the slope is positive. Whenever the slope is positive, that means the particle or the object is moving in the positive direction. Okay, and now let's find out what is the average velocity in this interval, in this time interval. And you can immediately see that the slope here is negative, or it is downhill. This is the uphill and this is the downhill. The downhill means the slope is negative. What does that mean? That means the average velocity in this case has to be negative. Now let's calculate this one. So again, between 2 to 3 seconds. So what we need to find out, what is the position at this point? That's the final position. The final position is 3 seconds. So that's the final position. So I'm just plugging into this equation here. The final position is 3 seconds. And the initial position, because we are interested in calculating in this interval, so the initial position is 5 and the final position is 3. So that's all I'm plugging here. 3 minus 5. And the time is 3 seconds and 2 seconds. You see now, we are interested in finding out this here. So this is the final time, this is the initial time, 3 minus 2 seconds. And if we solve it, then it will be negative 2 divided by 1, which is negative 2 meters per second. Again, minor correction here. Okay, so what does this mean? The negative sign tells you the particle or the object is moving in the opposite direction. Okay, so it was first, in this case it was going forward, and now it is coming backward. That's what it means. Now let's calculate from 3 to 5 seconds from here, from this range here, 3 to 5 seconds. So what is the final position at this point? At this point, the position of the particle is 3. And even at 3 time equals to 3 seconds, the position is 3 seconds. What does that mean? The particle is not moving at all. There is no change in position. Between 3 to 5 seconds, the position is not changing. So that means the particle or the object is at rest. So I have calculated here. So the final position is 3 and the initial position is 3, which is 0 meter per second. That means the particle is not moving at all. So now we calculated in this range. Now let's calculate it in this range now. And what you can immediately tell from this one is there is a downhill, more downhill. Okay, downhill means the average velocity has to be negative. So what is the final position at this point? The final position at time equals to 6 seconds is 0, and the initial position at time equals to 5 seconds is 3. So let's plug in this equation here. Between 5 to 6 seconds, at time equals to 6 seconds, the final position is 0. At time equals to 5 seconds, the position is 3. And this is the time 6 minus 5. What I get is negative 3 meter per second. The more the downhill is or the uphill is, the higher the average velocity is. So when you solve it, what you get is negative 3 meter per second. And the negative sign tells you the particle is moving in the negative x-axis. And now I'm not going to solve this here. Again, the same way you can calculate from 6 to 7 seconds or from 7 to 8 seconds. Let's do this one from 7 to 8 seconds. 7 to 8 seconds between this time. What is the position at this point? The position at this point is 0. What is the position of the particle at time equals to 7 seconds? This one is negative 3. So you have to write down the negative. So once we do that, now let's see here. So at time equals to 8 seconds, this is the particle is at 0 position, negative. And at time equals to 7 seconds, the particle position is 3. So this negative and this negative will make it positive. So this is 3 meter per second now. Okay. So what does this mean? That means in this case, the particle is moving in the forward direction. Okay. So because this is an upward slope, that means the particle must be moving in the forward direction or the positive x-axis. The same way, now we can calculate from 0 to 5 seconds. So this is 0 and this is the 5 second here. So how did you calculate the average velocity between these two times? Again, the information you need is the position. So between 0 to 5 seconds, here I'm solving for this now. So at time equals to 5 seconds, the position is 3. So 3, so let me write down here 3. And at time equals to 0 seconds, the position is 0. Divided by the time at this point is 5 minus 0. So 3 divided by 5, if we solve it, it will be 0.6 meter per second. That's what exactly I have solved here, 0.6 meter per second. And it is still moving along the positive x-axis. Okay, so that's how you find the average velocity from a given position time graph. All right. So if you want more interested, let me draw a picture of this one. So now let's say how is the particle moving. Let's say I'm drawing here, this is the x-axis and you were initially at this point. So let's say how you moved. So first you moved from 0 to 5 meter in time equals to 2 seconds. So first what you did, you moved 5 meter you moved 5 meter. So this is your first motion here. Okay, this is the 5 meter, 5 meter, and then what you did, you moved backward. How much you moved? You moved from 5 meter to 3 meter in the backward direction. So your second motion is 5 meter to, you move this way. Okay, and then in this interval you were sitting, you were just at rest, so you're not moving this time interval, and then you moved from 3 to -3 meter in this portion here. What does that mean? That means you moved from this point to this point, this way, -3 meter. This is -3 meter, and then again from this point you again moved back to the origin. So what does this mean here? You again started from this point and came back to the same location. So this is how the particle was moving, or you were moving, let's say. So first moved 5 meter, then turned back in, and then again moved in the negative direction, and then again came back to the origin. That's how is the motion of the particle. Okay, so this is it from this position time graph, and in the next video I'll talk about how do you plot the velocity time graph from this position and time graph, and I will also talk about how do you find out the acceleration time graph from the given velocity time graph. Stay tuned, and again, if you have any questions, comment or concerns, write down your questions in the comment section below, and do not forget to like, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you very much.